This documentary is based on publicly available information, media reports, and the efforts of volunteer investigative communities. While every effort has been made to present the story accurately and respectfully, certain details may have been generalized or adapted for narrative clarity. The identity of the individual formerly known as Lyle Stevik has not been publicly released out of respect for the privacy of his family. No speculation regarding his real name or circumstances will be made in this documentary. This content is intended for educational and informational purposes only and is not meant to sensationalize or exploit any individual or event. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please seek support. Help is available. Welcome to Missing Without a Trace, the internet sleuths who solved the case. Every year, tens of thousands of people vanish. Some return. Others don't. Their families search, investigators dig, and sometimes, no trace is ever found. But in the cracks left by official silence, a new breed of detective has emerged. Ordinary people, online, armed with search engines, public records, and forums, and an unrelenting determination to solve the unsolvable. This is the story of one such mystery. The tale of a man who called himself Lyle Stevik. A man who checked into a motel in Washington state, left behind no clues, and vanished from history, except for his death. A mystery that endured for nearly 2 decades, until a network of digital sleuths and forensic genealogists uncovered the truth. September 14, 2001. Just 3 days after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, the country was frozen in grief and shock. But in a small, damp corner of Amanda Park, Washington, population, a few hundred, a man quietly checked into a motel under the name Lyle Stevik. He was tall, well-groomed, in his early 20s. He had no ID, no luggage beyond a toothbrush, some loose change, and a few pieces of clothing. He was polite, quiet, observant. On September 16, just 2 days later, a maid found him dead in the motel bathroom. Suicide by hanging. He had taken steps to ensure he wouldn't be found in distress. Used towels were laid out to soften the fall. A note was left that simply read, "Suicide." Nothing more. Police ran his fingerprints. Nothing. No missing persons report matched. The name Lyle Stevik didn't exist, except as a minor character in a Joyce Carol Oates novel. Who was he? Why did he hide his identity so completely? Why Amanda Park? The questions went unanswered. Law enforcement combed every lead. They interviewed motel employees, reviewed surveillance footage, and put out composite sketches and dental records. But 2001 was a different era, pre-social media, pre-DNA ancestry databases. His face circulated among a small network of investigators, but without a name or a family searching for him, Lyle became a ghost. By 2002, the case was unofficially cold. But it was not forgotten. Enter the online sleuths. In corners of the internet, forums like Web Sleuths, the Doe Network, and Reddit, true crime enthusiasts, amateur genealogists, and digital archivists came together to solve mysteries authorities had shelved. Lyle Stevik's case drew attention for its peculiar details. A deliberate alias, a clean appearance, no signs of homelessness or distress, yet a complete erasure of identity. Forum threads spanning years debated theories. Was he running from something? Was he part of a cult? Had he witnessed something during 9/11 and fled? These communities shared photos, mapped out locations, analyzed handwriting, and crowdsourced ideas. One user compared the folds in his ears to missing persons. Another tried to recreate the room digitally. They dug into archived phone directories, motel logs, genealogy sites, but hit dead end after dead end. By 2016, a revolutionary tool changed everything: forensic genealogy. And in 2018, the non-profit DNA Doe Project took on Lyle's case. Founded to identify nameless decedents, the group worked by uploading DNA profiles to public genealogy databases, GEDmatch, FamilyTree DNA, and searching for familial matches. With the help of volunteer genealogists, they built out extensive family trees from distant cousins, some matches from over 100 years ago. Slowly, branches formed. Then a lead emerged. A man from California. A young man who had disappeared voluntarily, his family believing he simply wanted to disappear. Out of respect, His name was never made public. After nearly 17 years, Lyle Stevik finally had a name. He wasn't a drifter. He wasn't wanted by the law. He was a young man battling private demons. And he wanted, in death, the anonymity he couldn't find in life. As the mystery unraveled, another discussion rose to the surface. Should we identify someone who chose not to be found? Ethics in amateur investigations is murky territory. Internet sleuths walk a fine line between pursuit of truth and invasion of privacy. What if uncovering a John Doe causes harm to living relatives? What if a person wanted to disappear? The volunteers behind the DNA Doe Project emphasize compassion and consent. They work with law enforcement and families. And in Lyle's case, the family confirmed the match, but asked for discretion. Their privacy was honored. This case became a blueprint, proof that collaboration between professionals and skilled volunteers could solve even the most baffling cases, ethically and respectfully. Lyle's case became a rallying cry for digital detectives everywhere. It inspired more volunteers, more funding for the DNA Doe Project, and more public awareness of forensic genealogy's power. Since then, the project has helped solve dozens of similar cases. Nameless victims from the 1980s, 1970s, even the 1940s, now have identities. Families who waited decades for answers finally received them. And for every Lyle Stevik who is found, there are hundreds still waiting, names unknown, stories lost to time. But the momentum is growing. Lyle Stevik is more than a mystery solved. He's a symbol of our collective will to seek truth. Of how strangers, linked only by curiosity and compassion, can uncover what was buried. He reminds us that behind every unknown face is a life lived, a family left wondering, and a story worth telling. In an age of endless noise, sometimes it's the quiet stories, the forgotten ones, that echo the loudest. Thank you for listening to Missing Without a Trace, the internet sleuths who solved the case. If you found this story meaningful, please like, subscribe, and share. And remember, someone, somewhere, might be the key to solving another mystery. It could even be you.